All right. Hello again, and welcome to another live stream with me and Bård. Today we're going to talk about a subscription round trip in Crystallize. Basically, managing and looking at subscriptions and what you can create with Crystallize in terms of subscriptions. So I know that you have something cooked up for us, Bård.
Yeah, I have a demo that you prepared, Didrik. That's correct.
Yes, exactly.
But let's take a look at it, and I usually start with the documentation side of things. So because what is a subscription, right? And basically, I'm just scrolling to an example here, because basically a subscription is a contract for a future order at an agreed upon price and terms, right? So it's basically the orchestration of orders, and it defines the prices that you sign up for. Basically, it's the same as if you sign a rent contract for your apartment. That's essentially a subscription, and there are different types of subscriptions. Most notably prepaid or postpaid, right? You pay upfront, like with a Spotify subscription, for example. And then the flow is you basically create a contract and charge for the payment at the same time, and then immediately create the order. So that's kind of super simple flow, the simplest flow, because you're not creating a contract unless the payment goes through, right? That's a happy path that doesn't really have many things you have to think about. But the renewal is different, right? Because there things can go wrong, and essentially a renewal is triggered from Crystallize, and then Crystallize will check is the subscription canceled. If it's canceled, it will trigger a deactivated event, right? So that you can listen to, send an email, please come back, something like that. If it's still active, that's when we're going to create the order, right? But the order is not paid, but you create the order and you put it in a pipeline in Crystallize to charge it, right? And that's when you try to use the payment token that you have stored when you created the contract. And here you can have a success or failure, right? So it's a different beast when you're doing subscription renewals, and you might want to extend this process with retries and dunning to get back the customer and things like this. Okay, so that's a little bit theory. And if we walk through the setup in Crystallize, let's start here, Didrik, and maybe you can take us through the first step where we kind of create the blueprint.
Yeah, because before you can create a subscription, you do need to create a subscription plan, like you have done here, Bård, because you need to determine, okay, what kind of options am I going to give my customers based on intervals. So here you can set up multiple different periods, so you can define weekly, monthly, yearly, or your custom interval, basically, but basically based on days, weeks, and years. In addition, here you can see that you have the flat fee subscription, which is the basic, often used for physical products. I subscribe to this product, and then you get that product based on the period.
Yep.
Then you have graduated security cloud, rolls off the tongue.
Yeah.
Same story, subscription periods, but then you also have something called metered variables. Let me just move.
And in this case, metered variables is like usage-based charging, right? So that you can, in this case, charge for number of cameras and total hours of video stored in a cloud service. That's the example here for a security cloud service, right?
Exactly. And the next one, EV charging. Here you can have a metered variable that is energy consumption, for example. So you track based on an interval how many kilowatts has this user used of kilowatts.
So and here you can, so this is pure usage based or metered subscription, and it's a good example of not the digital, but not the physical product either. Well, electrons are physical, aren't they? Anyhow.
let's not get into that.
So these are blueprints, right? So this is how you can configure your products, right? Because we have here 3 products that one is a daily ritual coffee subscription, and the other is a smart home security cloud, and the last is EV charging, right? So if we take a look at the first one, which is the simplest one, here we have a basic flat fee. So we have a price for the coffee, so that you can buy it a one-off also. If it's in an e-commerce setting, you can buy it without a subscription. If you commit to a weekly subscription, it's 15 euros per week, essentially. And if you go to the security cloud, we have a little bit more advanced pricing, because here we have defined monthly with a fixed base, right? So it's a base price of 99 euros. And that includes up to 5 cameras, so that you can buy and connect 5 cameras. And then above 5, you pay 29 euros per month per camera that you have connected to your security system. And then, since this security system is storing video, in the 99 per month, 100 hours of video storage is included. And then you pay 1 euro per hour per month stored after that. So that's a different type of pricing. So it's multiple metered variables, as we call it, and you got tiers inside here. So this is a graduated pricing, because you only pay once you hit more than 5 cameras or more than 100 hours of video. Last example here, it's charging. And here you can't buy it as a standalone. And here it's a membership of 5 euros a month. And then you pay 22 euro cents for any usage you have. So there's no differentiation. Here you could have had volume-based if that would be a business model, so that you pay more or less if you consume X amount of kilowatts. So that's the price book, right? Now we still haven't done anything with the subscriptions, other than setting the price for the subscription plans themselves, the subscription products. So next step is essentially we can take a look at the customer. Let's start here, because here we have it's a booming enterprise desk with 2 great customers, and we can see that Didrik, he's got 2 different subscriptions, one which is pending activation and one which is currently active with 1 camera. And this customer have also 3 subscriptions. One is paused, and we have 2 active for both security and charging. Right. So you can look at the subscriptions directly at the customer, or you can also browse here at the Nerdy for subscriptions. This is a new view in Crystallize, where you also will be able to see all the contracts, and you'll be able to search and navigate through all of the contracts that you have for the whole tenant. All right. If we look at, let's take an example here where, so we can take a look at this current contract. So this is a subscription contract that is currently active. It is currently in the initial phase, and we can also see that a security camera is included in this subscription, but just for the initial phase, so that essentially you get a camera when you sign up. That's the business model for this. So, and one of the things that you can do here with with Crystallize. Everything here is, of course, available via APIs. No need to mention that again. But you can also do things in the UI. For example, 45 hours of extra video, maybe 45 more. And then we can see that we also get usage cost on the contract here. So it's quite usable in terms of navigating, setting up contracts, and also adding usage. So if we were to sell something, let's say we want to sell something to Didrik, we can do add subscription contract. And you can do this via the UI, even though you're more likely to automate it. But we can sell him a smart home security cloud. And this is typical for those businesses that have an online presence, but also maybe have inside sales. Maybe you're talking via support, or you have a call center to sell. And what we can do here is say, okay, I want a subscription here. I want to have an initial period, right? So that we have both a recurring and initial. And what I would like to do in the initial is to say, I would actually like to have a product included here also, right? So that you essentially give this as a sign-up offer. You include a camera. And we have a recurring period without camera. You don't send a camera every month, right? And here we also have activation. We can choose now or in the future. So let's just activate it now. And we can create a contract. So essentially, this is how you would create a new contract if you would do it like inside sales or via call center. Exactly the same is available via the APIs. So there's no problem to, of course, have this automated from your web shop or app. And again, here, once I have the contract, I can start adding a usage here. So 4 cameras, that's okay. Add 4 more cameras, and then the usage cost is 87 euros in addition to the recurring base cost or the initial base cost. You're able to manage the contracts. Yeah.
Yeah. No. Just in addition, one thing that is important to mention is that, of course, the metering can also be different from the recurring to the initial period. It's not only about products. You can set, okay, you get 1 month for free, including everything. You don't pay a dime in the initial period, and you define the period.
And that it can also be different in length. So the first month is free, and then you have a yearly subscription after that, for example, or 3 months free, or 3 months half price, whatever the business model is. You can manage that. So this is orchestrating when to generate orders, right? And you can also do things like post the contract, or also actually renew the contract if you want to manually do the renewal for some reason. But it's very useful when you're developing for one. But you typically have that auto renewed, of course. Okay, and the last piece of the puzzle is essentially then hooking up the webhooks, so that you have something like a renewal webhook. You send it to some sort of middleware, so that you can create a route in Next.js or whatever framework is what you're using.
And hit then or ingest or something, somewhere to consume the webhook.
That's good tips. And we see that ingest is a very popular tool that integrators are using.
Yeah.
And what you can do here is basically, because then the contract is orchestrating the contract, but it just fires off events, right? So that you have created, updated, deleted. This is for the contract itself. And then you have activate. That's when you activate the contract. And then you have activation due, which is 2 weeks and 1 week before activation. You get a webhook. So something like, your subscription is about to be activated. Here's the instructions, whatever. You have also some other interesting event. You have deactivate. This is when you cancel, right? You cancel the subscription mid-month. It's a monthly subscription. End of month, the deactivated event is fired, right? So that you have an event, okay, did they canceled? It's confirmed, sad to see you go, and then end of month, you cut the service, right? And then you have the main one, renewal. That's usually the main one that you want to care about. You also have the renewal due if the if you want to send a message, you're about to be renewed. Here's how you cancel, for example. This is what it costs.
Better option here would be you're about to renew. Would you like to add something to the cart if it's a physical product?
Yeah, that's good for upsell. And then you have pause and resume, which is fired when you pause and when you resume the contract. And of course, you have the cancel, the cancel event itself. So that enables you to listen to these events so that you can orchestrate. And essentially with Crystallize, what you use this orchestration to is to manage the order in a pipeline. So let's say I have an order here, and I'm just going to add it to a pipeline, which is what you're typically doing programmatically. But here we have a renew, and essentially this fires off a webhook. Order enters the renew state. You then try to charge the credit card typically, and then you have success or failed based off of that. And you do that if it success, you send thanks for still being a customer. Here's the receipt type of email. Failed, you send the opposite email, and then you maybe want to add another fulfillment pipeline for renew 3 times with 3 days in between, for example, before you actually cancel the subscription there. So that's the quick, short and sweet round trip of subscriptions in Crystallize. I'm not sure if you have anything to add, Didrik, at this point. Anything we've forgotten?
I think I said what I wanted to say. Everything that you've forgotten. So I think we're there. One addition now maybe is that, of course, a contract can also have metadata.
Yeah,
like delivery notes or service agreement things, whatever is metadata for a contract for you, for your business.
Yeah.
That was the short and sweet.
And of course, you can edit a contract also after the fact, right? If you want to change dates or change pricing or add some more metering, for example, to the contract. So this is all live in production. You can check it out, play with it, join the Slack community if you have any questions, want to discuss, or have some suggestions. We will do another live stream next Thursday. Subscribe if you want to get notified. See you in the next one. Thanks for watching.